Treyarch just revealed their brand new open world PvE experience, and it looks like it's gonna be a mix between DMZ, Modern Warfare Zombies, and Spec Ops. But what exactly is it and how does it work? This is Endgame. We have had surprisingly little amounts of information about this mode, so I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't know what this was, but this is a brand new mode that gets unlocked once you beat the campaign. This is an entirely new shared experience where the narrative unfolds for you and your squad. Designed with replayability in mind, explore the vast landscapes of Avalon, fight through escalating zones, and complete dynamic assignments with your squad and up to 32 players. So again, very much feels like DMZ or Modern Warfare Zombies, and I think it's more like Modern Warfare Zombies because I don't think that these other players are antagonistic towards you. There is a dev talk about this, which we might go over depending on what's in this blog post, but there are 11 missions before you can get to this end game of the campaign, which it says right here, after completing the first 11 co-op campaign missions, players will unlock endgame. Tasking JSOC against the vast landscapes of Avalon, the guild remaining, okay, whatever, designed for 1 to 32 players, in squads up to 4, let's go. Endgame offers impressive levels of replayability as players fight through escalating zones across this massive map. Level up unique skill tracks and combat ratings. Complete dynamic assignments and escape to preserve hard-earned progress. Which it does sound like there's a lot of stuff to progress here, all while continuing the main player progression and weapon leveling, as well as unlocking specific camos for all 30 launch weapons. That's right, it has its own camo grind too. And boy, if this doesn't look just like Modern Warfare Zombies, there are 4 tiers or 4 zones of difficulty. The first zone is right here on the right of the map, then zone 2 is going to be right here, kind of moving from right to left. Zone 3 is going to curl around to the center of the map, and then zone 4 is right here at the center of the map. I do think there's an interesting design choice here to have tier 4 still be in the center and also have this sort of opening into the ocean. My thought is one of the last missions we do might start us in Lowtown and then bring us all the way through here and then have to exfil here and then have like a nuke go off or something. Or the opposite might be true. We might start in this fort and then come into Lowtown where the final battle happens. I don't know. That's just kind of, I'm thinking of the Modern Warfare Zombies tier 3 story mission where you go and you fight the big worm there. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. It's in the center of the map as well as touching this ocean or lake or whatever that is. In Endgame, every player works together during their deployment. You can split off to pursue your own objectives or fight alongside others, which is useful approaching the more dangerous zones, of course. You choose an operator, customize your loadout, and then drop into Avalon using a wingsuit. You can explore in foot or on vehicle, of course, and then ideally you would exfil after completing various missions. Your C-Link operating system, I'm sure we'll learn more about that in the campaign, unlocks full loadout customization in the endgame, giving each operator the ability to choose their preferred tools for the fights ahead. Your ultimate goal is to gain enough power to reach the highest exposure zones. Yes, that's actually going to be very important here. You can see the combat rating. You level that up, and it seems like you are locked out of zone 2 until your combat rating is 10. And these combat ratings are restricted per character, not per player, per character. So almost like the Exfil streaks from DMZ or the, I forget what it was even called in Modern Warfare Zombies. But again, your ultimate goal is to gain enough power to reach the highest exposure zones where something is leaking massive amounts of toxin into Avalon from there. And it's waiting for you. So pretty cool. Like I said, I bet you it's somewhere in here and then we've got to destroy it and then run away. I don't know. Here is our first look at the menu. You can see we have like a literal skill tree here. There's 4 different ways you can go and a bunch of these different upgrades that you can take. You begin by choosing one of the 4 available operator slots. Okay, so that you could take 4 operator slots. Each slot represents a character on a unique power journey. That's important, just like Modern Warfare Zombies or DMZ. Endgame loadouts consist of a main weapon, a melee weapon, a field acquisition, a weapon you've found in previous endgame matches and exfilled with, that's pretty cool, and a piece of field equipment. So I just want to say, you spawn in with less in the campaign than you do in the zombies mode, which is supposed to be a survival bare bones mode. I'm just saying. Explore further into Avalon to uncover workbenches found across the province to upgrade your weapon's rarity, which boosts its damage. Ooh, rarities in campaign. All right. Choosing abilities. Once you select an operator for your slot and customize your loadout, you make perhaps the most important decision of all, your major and minor ability. These abilities are vital to your survival in the endgame, and you can make a concise choice of how you want to play endgame, including the way you fight, support your teammates, and explore the landscape of Avalon. If you select active camo, you're likely to favor approaching combat environments to a degree of stealth, of course. War machine, you're gonna go in, yeah, exactly. We know how abilities work. Power up in-game to level your combat rating, earning new skills and power upgrades across health, armor, speed, and damage. But be warned, if you're killed in action, you lose it all. So that is very threatening, very, very threatening. You don't get like knocked back. Oh, actually, you might be knocked back to where you infield with. We'll see. As we just said, creating loadout, players must choose one major and one minor ability for their operator. The importance of these abilities cannot be understated. These grant new moves, allow the use of powerful weapons, and give unique tactical advantages, have a brief cooldown between charges, and define each operator's unique playstyle. As you progress through endgame, it's worth considering the major and minor abilities available to you. So here are the major abilities. You have the ballistic shell, deploy an energy shield that blocks incoming enemy fire, active camo, become nearly invisible for a short duration, gunfire temporarily reveals your position. Hand cannon, we know what hand cannon is. Crash card, instantly revive down squad mates within range and provide temporary invulnerability. Can be used to self-revive when down, very good. Vision pulse, send out a pulse which visually tags enemies through walls for your squad. Tagged enemies take increased damage. War machine, powerful single shot grenade launcher, large explosion radius. Shadow break, create an energy warping field that teleports and damages enemies. In the dev talk, which we might look at, this actually is just basically shadow rift from zombies, but as an ability. Drone pod, deployable device that launches aerial drones. Drones seek out enemies and explode. So those are the major abilities. The minor abilities, we have a grappling hook, a portal grenade, a grenade that spawns hallucinations to target your enemies. They last a short duration, so like the sight grenades. Kinetic jump, jump to extreme heights, hold down the button to jump for higher. Landing stuns nearby enemies. I think that's one of the like zombie abilities in Zombie Royale like we get every year in Warzone. Flicker, tap to quickly teleport a short distance in your facing direction. Press and hold to pre-aim, goes through enemies. That's interesting, like the warp burst dash sort of thing from Ether Shroud. Supply link instantly supplies you and your squad mate with ammo, armor, equipment, and a portion of the major ability recharge, almost like a max ammo. Black hat, hack enemies, equipment, and vehicles. Hacked targets are disabled, destroyed, or converted to fight for you. So some pretty box standard and some pretty fun different abilities to use against these different enemies, I guess. But with a major and minor ability always available to you during endgame, you can further augment your combat zone prowess with the use of skills. And look at this, reload speed, fast replay, weapon swat, ammo auto refill, nice. Aiming expert, shocking reload. You see what I mean? Like this does feel like a mix between Modern Warfare Zombies and DMZ and just all the different modes. This is very interesting. Gain power in a match by completing objectives, uncovering intel, and defeating enemies to raise your operator's combat rating. Every time your combat rating levels up, your operator is given the opportunity to choose one of two skill tracks or skills. These skills continue to expand as your operator's combat rating improves over time to the max level of 60. These skill tracks and their accompanying skills include, wow, look at all this. Okay. The gunner, master your weapons, reload faster, aim sharper, electrify enemies. So we've got fast reload, fast replate, fast weapon swap, ammo auto refill, ammo refills over time, aiming expert, improve weapon accuracy, sprint to fire time, sliding, shock reload. The emptier the magazine, the stronger the effect. This is just electric cherry. Wow. Surgeon, we've got health recovery, last stand, agile handling, fire weapon while sprinting and walking faster. Wouldn't that be in gunner? Huh. Fast revive, fast heal, and eliminating an enemy while in last stand will revive you. There is a cooldown. Wow. Daredevil, we have dive bomber, which diving aggressively with your wingsuit releases a concussive blast, and so PhD, improved airtime and handling for your wingsuit, receive less damage from melee attacks, sliding distance and speed art. This really is PhD. Get a brief moment speed boost after reloading a weapon. Wow, this is just all the augments. And then slide explosion, sliding and diving triggers explosions in a radius. Wow, this is like zombies literally mixed with multiplayer. This is crazy. Tactician improves equipment ammo, quick deploy, temporary speed boost after killing enemies. That's hot foot right there. Recharger, faster recharging of your equipment and abilities. Okay. Quick rounds back. Eliminating 2 enemies in quick succession has a chance of returning 2. That's just the double tap augment. Eliminating an enemy has a chance to spawn a live piece of equipment. We have Berserker, increased rate of fire. Eliminating enemies regenerates a portion of your armor. At the highest upgrade, eliminating an elite enemy regenerates more. Critical chain speed boost, temporary increase your speed after getting several consecutive critical kills. Endurance sprinter, reload while tack sprinting, tack duration and sprint fire time improved. Fall damage reduction and fall explosions. Falling from heights creates explosions. Wow. And then we've got bulldozer. Regenerate 1 armor plate if damaged or if all armor slots are empty. Damage bonus for shooting enemies at point blank range. Deal bonus damage while at low health. Self-revive or revived players will take reduced damage for a short time. Reduce damage from explosives, immune to own explosive, again PhD, and then tackle fears and soldiers. Fears must be the zombie type of enemy here. here. They are knocked down while sliding, diving, or attack sprinting. Wow. Now, I do want to show you some gameplay from this because in this dev talk, they show off quite a bit. Oh, so here you're going to see the shadow thing, the shadow damage where you like get close to enemies and then boom, they teleport up to the top. So it is just Shadow Rift, but within this little area. Pretty cool. But again, just Shadow Rift. Here's an example of that bubble shield right there. So that sounds pretty strong. And then you can see the combat rating at the bottom and the skill select right there. So they're selecting their skills and you can see it's like their field upgrade on the bottom right there. You can see just so much they could choose what gets upgraded. And I just want to remind everybody, I know we have problems with the HUD here in the zombies community, but I'm sure we're going to be able to turn off the damage numbers, the score feed, and use different themes in the co-op campaign. They've confirmed that. We can turn off the compass if we want to, just to make it a little bit prettier here. But again, choosing all of the, and then you could see them scrolling through all these different abilities and the slots of the characters. You could have 4 different characters, so you could try out all of these different play styles and see what works and what doesn't. You definitely, it's more like DMZ-esque or Spec Ops in the sense you're going up against, like, I want to say regular enemies, but as you see right here, we're going through these, what I imagine these are called fears. Yeah, you can see right there, the top of the name tag says fear. It's basically zombies, but it looks like from all of the gameplay we've seen, this is 90% other like humans you're fighting against, like the campaign missions are. And then there's like in this huge like tier 4 zone or something, or this is actually tier 3, just like Modern Warfare Zombies, you've got zombies in there. And then they're talking about Exfil. I think we might get to Exfil. Let's go down here again, but it looks pretty interesting to me. Let's talk about endgame progression. It unifies player progression across the entire experience for the first time in franchise history. Campaign, multiplayer, zombies, whatever, everything contributes to global player XP, including endgame activities. Players will earn XP, weapon levels, weapon camos, battle pass progress while completing co-op missions and endgame runs. The experience you build in the story connects seamlessly into every other mode. That's pretty cool. And I might see if there's like really good XP to be had here. That might be a really fun way of grinding. Weapon camo and challenges, a dedicated campaign co-op track offering 16 unique military, special, and mastery camos to unlock for the very first time, daily and weekly challenges, giving players fresh goals, XP payouts, and unlocks every day of the week, just like all the other modes. Your first endgame match. So creating a character, we're selecting one of these characters. Again, you can use like Ted and any of them that we have, including our zombie cast, which would be really cool. We've got our major and minor abilities here, as well as our power upgrades, and then the graph of these skills. After choosing 50-50 as our operator, we'll pick the ballistic shell major ability and the grappling hook minor ability. So that ballistic shell is that bubble shield that we saw, and then the grapple hook is the grapple hook. And with new characters, there are no skill tracks because we have 0 combat rating because it's a fresh character. And then we have no field acquisition because you haven't played your first game yet. You need to find that weapon in game first. Going into Avalon, we'll drop it over the skies, must use our wingsuit to descend to ground level. Through the use of the TAC map and C-Link overhead display, various assignments and activities around the map, choosing one that tasks us with stealing a vehicle from a convoy. Like I said, it's kind of like Spec Ops, where it's like, okay, you're in this big open world, but they're going to task you with stealing a vehicle from a convoy. Doesn't sound like contract. Well, actually, it might sound like contracts, but it might be more streamlined or focused. We'll see. We're going to fight against enemy enforcers, Deadeyes, raiders, other guild mercenaries, etc. We do it. We complete the task. In turn, we're rewarded with a cache, letting us choose from 1 or 2 offered grenade types. Our combat rating increases, opening the first skill tree. We're offered the choice between surgeon and berserker skill trees, which I'm sure over time we'll understand what those are a little bit more. And then as we start that surgeon tree, for example, on subsequent combat rating levels up, we'll begin unlocking the skill in the surgeon tree, keeping our operator in top fighting form while faster healing, quick revives, and other benefits to keep you and your squad in good shape. Of course, that depends on your playstyle and you can change that per operator. Exfil and fight another day. Okay. Time is of the essence in endgame matches. There is a timer. Before the match timer runs out, operators must seek out a friendly VTOL exfil, get to a pickup zone, clear the landing area, and get out. A successful exfil lets you keep your current loadout and combat rating. Make sure you get out every time so you can push into harder locations and reap the greater rewards that await you. In the dev talk, they said if you don't exfil, if you die, you lose everything. But also in the dev talk, they said you lose everything that you earned in that game. Imagine if we were at like a combat skill or combat rating of 40, and then we leveled up to 42 that game, but then we died or didn't exfil, we would just go back to 40. I think that's how it's gonna work. At least that sounds like how it's gonna work. And then we're gonna get a breakdown of weapon camos, covering prestige, challenges, and more later this week. So be sure to subscribe for my overview of that. In this dev talk though, they mentioned your combat skill or your combat rating will also increase your damage and your armor and other things.
You're hitting these kind of core milestones at certain levels, so at combat rating 5, 10, etc., where you're increasing your health, your armor, your movement speed, and most essentially your damage.
The first thing you're going to go after is combat rating 10. That is your very first damage upgrade. What that means is you're now ready to push into harder zones.
And then once you reach level 60 of your combat rating, you've maxed out yourself as a soldier.
So that's pretty cool. You're increasing your health and damage and armor. And what's really interesting here is you can see in the bottom left of the HUD, Night Knight here has 4 armor plates with room for, I think, 2 more. So this might get crazy. They say you can increase your health. You can see also on the bottom left there, we've got 175 HP, but it looks like we've taken a little bit of damage. Obviously, they said you can increase your damage. And at the very end here, I think we already saw it, you could see this character PhD slides through these zombies or around these zombies. So right there, oh, I guess maybe not that one. Yeah, there we go, right here. So PhD slide, it explodes, and there's a trail of fire behind it. So this truly feels like a mixture of Modern Warfare zombies, regular zombies with augments, DMZ with this open world type of stuff, and maybe even Spec Ops with these very specific missions. And did I just see a parasite? I think I just saw a parasite right here. Look at the bottom left here. So down and then boom, right there, there's a little parasite. Wow, that's crazy. We've got point turrets and all these things. There was a doppelgast back there. Was that not? Right there. Is that a doppelgast or something? That's a doppelgast. This is weird. This is so crazy. And I've seen a lot of these like zombified sort of things, or I guess the more zombie specific things in the tier 3 zones, like this right here. Whenever it's red, full of the gas stuff, that's where I think the fear toxin, whatever, that's actually a really good shot of that toxin. So I imagine if we're exposed to those higher tiers, that's when we're going to start getting the zombie specific stuff. But I know a lot of you Modern Warfare Zombies fans really didn't mind the mercenaries from Modern Warfare Zombies. So whereas Modern Warfare Zombies was like 90% zombies, 10% mercenaries, this looks like it might be flipped a little bit, maybe like 75% mercenaries and 25% zombies. Obviously, it's not a zombie mode, but it's an open world PvE experience. And in terms of covering this, I am going to try my best to speedrun the campaign as fast as I can and get to this end game mode, because it genuinely looks like there's a lot of content to cover, and they have said that they are going to support this at least for the first 3 seasons or so. And if there is support, if there's a lot of good feedback about it, if people are playing this mode, then they might support it, which I know isn't like the best way to phrase things. But that being said, if no one plays it, it turns out not being good, they don't want to waste their time on it. But if this is something you're interested in, I would absolutely give it a shot, and let me know what kind of videos you would like to see. And you better believe I'm going to give you a camo tracker just for campaign. Either way, it seems like I've got a whole heck of a lot of work to do this year. And if you're a fan of Modern Warfare Zombies, and well, I guess even if you aren't, then you should know that I'm a big believer that this sort of open world style of PvE experience could be very beneficial. In fact, I would really love to see a sequel to Modern Warfare Zombies. And if that sounds crazy, be sure to check out this video and stay beautiful.